Ladies and gentlemen, Gungans and Druids, Giddyman, Decoders, Erodians, Twilights, and Overslice Slugs! I'm feeling really, really good. Dare I say I'm feeling pretty darn criminal how good I'm feeling today. I've been getting a lot of questions, and I get why. How is Jabba the Hutt's high exaltedness inside of the challenge Rancor raid? Well, I got you today. If you've ever wanted to have your own Rancor to use in the Rancor raid, well, let me tell you, buddy, sit back, relax, because let me tell you, it's a lot of fun. We have some non-Omicron gameplay, and I also have a little bit of Omicron footage that we're going to show here. I think people just mainly want to see what it looks like, because it's a lot of fun. I don't know if many people are still concerned with the challenge record. We have a lot of ways to handle it with Jedi Master Kenobi, Rey, Supreme Leader Kylo, Master Luke. Those are kind of our raid go-tos. And of course, there's things like clones, Shakti, Padme, that can get the job done. But Jabba is a lot of fun. Long story short, if you can't stick around for that long, very solid. Straight out the very get-go. You know, let's just start rolling some gameplay. Straight out the very get-go. 10%. Phase 1, 2, 3. This is my takes up against every single phase of the challenge Rancor raid. No Omicron. I'm Boushh Leia. And it fit pretty well. I did a few different lineups. We did our Lord and Savior Embo. Lots of fun, as I'll be explaining here in a moment. And then I threw in Greedo, and oddly enough, I kind of like Greedo a lot in this lineup as well. But the 10% is very respectable. That's like pretty darn good for day one. I'm assuming it's only going to get better. Now, of course, we have teams that can get like 15%, like Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, Rey and the Jawas, out of all the teams that exist out there. Then we have some teams that can go above 20%. Jedi Master Kenobi's. Yes, he's the golden child of galaxies. All right, you guys don't need to hear it from me. You've heard it many, many times. But for day one, just throwing in my arena mods, no Omicron, going in blindly, 10% is very, very good. I mean, at minimum, guilds try to shoot for like 2% per person. 10% with the Galactic is great. So I feel very confident this guy's gonna be pretty solid. Inside the Rancor raid, that's something you care about, which I understand, because especially if this is gonna be your first Galactic Legend, maybe many years down the road, you're coming to the game, you want a good Galactic Legend, like Supreme Leader Kylo Ren that can handle the raids. Jabba the Hutt, with his requirements, again, you don't need anything funny. With his requirements, boom, you're gonna take out challenge Rancor raid type of stuff out there. So that's pretty solid. But why is it pretty good day one? Well, the biggest thing is with his leader ability, his high exaltedness, you got to keep in mind he gets some really special benefits. The second you enter a raid, boom, his contract is fulfilled immediately. You don't have to hit the Rancor 20 times with the thermal detonator on them. It just works right away. Then once you hit that payout, you're going to be able to get the extra defense penetration, the extra offense potency. Going to be getting 55% mastery for each stack of my kind of scum on them. And you're going to recover 20% protection at the start of their turn. Now, keep in mind, the protection recovery doesn't quite work with Jabba the Hutt inside the Rancor raid, because the Rancor prevents protection recovery. But nonetheless, at the very beginning, you got supercharged bounty hunters, Hutt cartels at the very get-go, doing some insane amounts of damage. And on top of that, this is where things get really, really fun. The ultimate, there will be no bargain, is great, because it's a lot easier to make it go off, I think, inside of the raids than it is the arenas, is because you're also getting ultimate charge anytime an ally with my kind of scum defeats an enemy. So you're going to be killing off a lot of the pickies off on the side there. And you're going to get some more ultimate charge as a result. And the great thing is, it does some pretty good damage. From what I can tell, based off my very reasonable Relic 9 Jabba. And by the way, side note, this is probably the first Galactic Legend where I don't really think you need to go beyond Relic 7. I mean, even Relic 5 might be totally fine as well. So it's kind of good. There's not really a great argument for Relic 9, except that maybe increase his health more. And as a result, he gets a little bit more damage out of There Will Be No Bargain, because with There Will Be No Bargain, the ultimate ability, when you're up against a raid boss, you're going to deal true damage to the target enemy equal to 30% of Jabba's max health 5 times. And he gets stun all of enemies, which is whatever. But on top of that, when you use this ultimate, you're recovering 100% health, 100% protection. Unfortunately, that's not going to work, the protection part. And you're also getting 50% turn meter gain. Again, you can't get the turn meter gain inside the challenge Rancor, but you're getting a nice boost of health on top of that, and doing damage 5 times based on 30% of Jabba's max health is pretty great. Jabba's health, before I even talk about leadership's abilities, all the max health increases. Mine is 135,000. And then when you consider his leader ability, increasing it, and of course he's got 30% mastery, 30% max health increases, and reduced damage on Hutt Cartel, you're gonna get quite a big number. So from what you saw there, it's about 0.5% of damage in the Rancor raid, and it's about 500,000 damage just off the ult. So it's a nice chunk of damage that gets things moving along quite nicely there. And there's another amazing attribute that I really want to highlight here. I like this quite a lot. Because you're hitting the contract right away, just because it's his show, why should he have to wait to get his payout, his ultimate? He's bringing a Rancor to the Rancor fight right from the very get-go. Krrksantan, really good inside of this raid, or just raids in general, because with his payout that he has here, 50% critical avoidance, cool. He taunts for 2 turns, recovers 40% health protection, cool. But if the ally in the leader slot is Galactic Legend Hutt Krrksantan, I wonder who that could be. He's gaining damage immunity for 2 turns. So what I'm trying to get at is right at the very beginning of the battle, and this is great particularly for phase 1, not so much when you get to phase 2, 3, and 4 because they have buffed the spells, but in phase 1, Krrksantan pre-taunts, they have damage immunity on him, and the Gamorrean guards, they can't do anything. They're throwing Death Mark on him, they're trying to hit him. Nothing's gonna happen. So that's gonna be great because it gives you quite a few turns to really enjoy Krrksantan hanging out with the team, not taking any damage whatsoever. So that's one thing that's really going in favor of Krrksantan in this situation here. And of course, what's nice as well is we have a cleanse on this team. So if you do happen to get Death Mark on your team, great thing is you got Crime Lord, which dispels the Death Mark right away. So you got that covered. So that's one thing you kind of need in phase 1. You kind of need something to clear it off. Death Mark, boom. Jabba the Hutt has that for you. I love Embo. He's great. Embo's fantastic. I loved him for the first tier that I used him, but I just want to talk about Greedo here. Greedo is a ton of fun in this situation. You know, I did get some use out of him in squad arena testing. I'm sure we're going to find some other funny uses for him, but it's a lot easier to get critical hits inside of the Rancor raid. And as a result, as the community likes to call him, no cap Greedo. With this unique ability, if at first you don't succeed, what happens is Greedo's got a 50% chance to attack again whenever he scores a critical hit. So there is a hypothetical situation where Greedo can get quite a few hits, and especially when you have Jabba's contract pulled off, increased mastery on him, increased damage capabilities with all the synergies baked into Jabba and the leadership and whatnot, the payouts and all the other funny stuff being baked in with all the abilities and the buffs. He can hit for quite a few times. So it almost kind of feels like using the Rancor ultimate because he can hit sometimes for like 100,000 per hit, depending on the scenario. And if he hits 5 times, which is possible, it's going to be pretty substantial damage at the end of the day. So I'm not sure if this is the lineup with Greedo or Embo. I just kind of wanted to go in, first impressions, see what it feels like. And then I'm sure as we go along, if there's something we do want to advance, I'm sure it only can get better. And I think the last thing I really want to talk about here is the Boushh Leia Omicron. Now, this gameplay is not the Omicron. I'm not convinced we want the raid Omicron on Boushh Leia right now. Maybe there's going to be a new raid down the road. I'm going to refer you to a video if you want to watch some Boushh Leia Omicron, their first attempt with Jabba. They didn't have Jabba Ultimate. I'll show that in a moment here. But with this Omicron, the max cooldown of Inventive is reduced by 1. So this one right here. So it's only a 2-turn cooldown instead of 3-turn cooldown. So primarily it's important to just keep triggering the thermal detonators, making them go off here. But at the Aphelion, the leader slot is a Hutt Cartel. When Fearless inflicts a thermal detonator, all Hutt Cartel adds again 10% armor penetration, stacked up to 200%, 20% offense, capping out at 400%, which is a lot of damage. Like, that's a lot of damage they're leaving off on the table there. 20% potency, which, you know, I'm sure it helps get more thermal detonators on. And you have the possibility of stacking up your speed by 10 to a cap of 100. I don't have it. I personally don't need it. The challenge Rancor raid is pretty much done by my guild by like a few people. We don't need Jabba to handle it. And I just based off initial gameplay, here's some footage provided by Darth Draconis. I'm not going to watch the full thing. Feel free to check out. There'll be a link down below. They have no Jabba Ultimate, I believe. And yeah, no Jabba Ultimate. And they got roughly 10% damage, which is kind of what I was able to do without the Omicron. Now again, Ultimate's probably going to add at least a couple more percentage points because they didn't have that. That's easily 500,000 extra damage per use of the Rancor. Remember, it's repetitive. You can keep bringing in your puppy to keep smacking the living daylight out of the other Rancor here. So I suspect this is probably going to maybe bump it up to 15% pretty easily. So the great thing about Jabba inside of this. If you do care about challenge Rancor raid, it's pretty easy. You don't have to think much. The requirements are already there. You don't need any Omicrons to get a very solid initial run. And I think there's going to be a ceiling for us to grow with this as well on top. But really, you guys only wanted to see this just to see a Rancor on Rancor action. And it's kind of nerdy of me to say, but it's kind of a dream come true in terms of my Galaxy of Heroes nerdom. You know, I was here pretty much since day one of the game. And the Rancor raid, when it came out, it was a big deal. And just seeing the Rancor and fighting against it brought a lot of fun memories. And I never would have imagined I could actually play as the Rancor. Another reason why I really do love Jabba. It's a lot of fun. The animations are a lot of fun to use, and it's quite useful in there as well. Oh, side note, not that notable, but he does solo the AAT raid, in case that was of concern for you guys. But thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed watching some Rancor and Rancor action. Leave a like, comment down below, subscribe, and as always, remember, it's great to be in the Hutt Cartel today.